Okay, a good Erev Shabbos, everyone, as we start the very special segment called For the Shabbos Table on Parshas Vayaira. This segment has been made possible through the very generous grant of the Reuben family, and they ask us that we should be mispalel, that they should be zeichet to a healthy ben zachar, and they should have gesund parnasa and nachas. I also want to make an interesting announcement. I was zeicha, usually in order to have a son who is a very big matzliach, you have to work very hard from the crib through the elementary school years and then the adolescent years. It's a big job. So I was zeicha when I married my second first wife, I call her, Shashi, that she had a fully developed son, a big Talmid Chacham. His name is Rav Simcha Weiss. He's right now a 7th grade Rebbe in Yeshivas Kamenetz, a very successful, wise 7th grade Rebbe. But he and his wife, Shira Leah, decided that they wanted to open up an elementary school in Lakewood. They see the need. Every year, boys have a hard time getting into yeshiva, and they want to create a certain niche where they have a yeshiva that's a middle of the road, derech ha'emtza, shvil hazav, the golden way, the middle way. They want to make an elementary school, and they're opening up with the siyata d'shmaya a brand new school, starting with the primary grade for next year. It's going to be called Yeshivas Toras Chesed, YTC. And if you have a child of that age, a boy, that's ready for primary, then you would certainly want to come to the open house that they're holding this Sunday night. It's going to be at 1537 Newport Drive at 9 o'clock. I will be speaking there. So, that's if you have a boy that's going into primary, you definitely want to check it out. It says in the parsha, the greatest test to a human being, which we derive till today protection from. Many people say every day the parsha of the Akedas Yitzchak. On Mondays and Thursdays we say that Hashem should remember the schus of Akedah. On Rosh Hashanah, in Zechraynis, our shofar is to remind Hashem of the merit of the Akedah. So we know that Hashem gave this amazing command, this unbelievable command to Avram, Vayaira kachna es bincha es yechidcha asher ahavta, take your child, your only child, which you love, es Yitzchak, v'lech lecha al eretz HaMoriah, go to the land of Moriah, v'aleyu sham la'oila, and bring him up there as a burnt offering. And Avram Avinu embarked. He had the wood, he had the knife, Yitzchak was already bound, trussed up like a carbon on the Mizbeach, and the knife was poised to fulfill the will of Hashem. So Rabbi Dr. Tversky asks a very, very powerful question. He says, why wasn't Avram suspicious that this wasn't really Hashem's command, but a trick of the Satan. And we know that the Satan has power to do tricks. You know, it says that at the time before the Egel, before Moshe Rabbeinu came down from the mountain, the Satan, it says it in the Medrash, the Satan allowed them to see an image of Moshe Rabbeinu lying prone in the heavens as if he was dead. So we see that the Satan has the power to try to trick people. And there's a very strong reason for Avram Avinu to be suspicious. Because we know that Avram Avinu fulfilled the whole Torah before it was given. And in Devarim, in Perek Yud Beis Pasuk Lamed Aleph, it says categorically in the Torah, Lo yisasen kein laHashem Elokecha. You shouldn't offer human sacrifices to Hashem your God. Ki kol toyav Hashem, Asher sonei. This is an abomination of Hashem which he hates. Asu le'Eloheihem. They did to their gods. Ki gam es b'neihem ves b'noisam. Their sons and their daughters yisrafu be'esh le'Eloheihem. They burnt in fire to their gods. But Hashem hates that. It's abominable. And Avram Avinu knew this pasuk. He knew the whole Torah before it was given. So if he heard that it should be brought as an olah, as a burnt offering, and that's not like the Torah, why didn't he suspect that this is not coming from God? Also, we know it actually contradicted what God said. God told Avram Avinu, Ki b'Yitzchak yikarei l'chazara. You'll have descendants from Yitzchak. And now this voice tells him to slaughter Yitzchak. Why did he listen to it? It's a very big kasha. So, Rabbi Tversky starts off, we know that in Kriya Shema we say that we should serve Hashem b'chol levavcha. And it's two bases. And the reason why it has two bases is because we're supposed to serve Hashem with our Yetzer Hara and our Yetzer Tov. Right? In the beginning of the Pasha, when Avram talked to the Malachim, he said to them, "V'sa'adu libechem." You should satisfy your hearts. And Rashi says there is only one base, because there it was to angels. This is one of the proofs that they say that Avram saw through and knew that they were angels. Because it says v'sa'adu libchem, it doesn't say v'sa'adu levavchem. Because an angel doesn't have a Yetzer Hara. But it's levavacha. Because we have a Yetzer Hara and a Yetzer Tov. Now how do you serve Hashem with your Yetzer Hara? Now the simple pshat is that we serve Hashem with our Yetzer Hara when we have base desires and we channel them for the good. We want to, feed our face. And we channel it to learn better. Or to be more patient with our wives. So we're serving Hashem with our Yetzer Hara as well. Another way to serve Hashem with a Yetzer Hara is by conquering it. You have a Yetzer Hara. I got to tell you this news. I know it's Lashon Hara, but boy, is this juicy gossip. You won't believe what I saw on Route 9. Right? And you don't do it. You don't say it. So there you're also serving Hashem with your Yetzer Hara. But Rav Tversky said something else. The Yetzer Hara tips us off about what's really going on. Avram Avinu had a concern. Is this coming from God? It doesn't sound godly to do a human sacrifice. But then what happened was the Satan started to try to stop him. You know, it says one of the reasons why on Rosh Hashanah we go to Tashlach is because when Avram Avinu started heading to Hara Maria, the Satan brought a river and tried to block him. Avram Avinu resolutely crossed the river and Hashem split it for him. So when Avram Avinu saw that the Satan was trying to stop him, the Yetzer Hara was trying to stop him, then he knew it came from Hashem. Also, the Satan appeared as an old man and said to him, "What, are you crazy? You're going to kill the child that God gave you after 100 years? You know what people are going to say about you?" When he saw that the Satan was trying to stop him, then he knew it was the Ratzon Hashem. Now this is a very important point. When the wife of Potiphar tried to tempt Yosef, there was an element of L'Shem Shemayim. It says that she was a great astrologer. And she saw in the stars that from her family will come children from Yosef. So she was sure, and she felt the tremendous physical magnetism to Yosef. She was sure that meant that she would marry Yosef. Now Yosef knew that too. It happened to be, but it wasn't from her. It would be from her daughter, or the daughter that she raised. Asnas was really the daughter of Dinah, but she raised Asnas. It would be from Asnas. Now, how did Yosef know? The way Yosef knows is because it says, "Vayihi kidabra elav yoim yoim." She persisted and wanted him and attempted every day. Yosef said, that's not the way of the Yetzer Tov. The Yetzer Tov doesn't push us all the time. You know, the Yetzer Tov doesn't nag us every day. Did you do Ma'aveh? The Yetzer Hara nags us every day to waste our time. It's not the way of the Yetzer Tov to push. So here again, Yosef saw from the Yetzer Hara the fact that she had to push every day. He says, this is not coming from the Yetzer Tov. Yetzer Tov doesn't push constantly. And this is a pshat in I made a bracha already. This is the pshat in a remarkable medrash. The medrash says, at the end of the creation, on the sixth day, Vayaira likim es kol asher asa, Hashem saw everything that he made, v'hinei toiv ma'od, and it was very good. So the Medrash says something remarkable. Toiv, good, zeh Yetzer Tov. Ma'od, very good, zeh Yetzer Hara. Now what does that mean? The Yetzer Tov is good, but the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, is very good? The evil inclination is what gets us to smoke. The evil inclination is what gets us to hurt people's feelings and embarrass people. How can you say that that's very good? It's a remarkable medrash. And it's a remarkable explanation. Anything that's ma'od, that's very, very, is a sign that it's coming from the Yetzer Hara. You ever see people that they're hot to trot to get involved in a fight. You know, I always say a story that in my shul in Staten Island, there was a quorum needed in order to make a new decision in a general membership meeting. Whatever the amount of people, let's say 23 members, whatever it is. It was hard to get a quorum. But if there was a fight about something, then the place was full. Then you could sell popcorn. That's the way the Yetzer Hara is. If you want to do something very much, then you got to be suspicious. Because it's not the way of the Yetzer Tov to push. The Yetzer Hara pushes. Yosef saw that it was every day, he knew that the wife of Potiphar came from the side of the Yetzer Hara. And that's one of the meanings of B'chol Levavecha, that you could serve Hashem with the Yetzer Hara. You could determine if this is coming from a good way or a bad way, from how much you're feel an urge to do it. If there's a strong urge to do it, then you better be suspicious. We also pointed out many, many times that the Yetzer Hara only bothers people where there's a mitzvah. So, for example, if a man learns Gemara versus a woman learning Gemara, the Yetzer Hara is going to try to stop the man from learning Gemara, because he has a mitzvah to learn it. Teach your sons. The woman wants to learn Gemara, the Yetzer Hara is not going to get in the way. That's not her mitzvah. And sometimes the Yetzer Hara is even cackling because she's doing that. She's not doing what she really should be supposed to be doing. And then the Yetzer Hara doesn't get involved at all. Now, this is why I pointed out to you there's so many unhappy people around. You know, they used to call it the Prozac generation, the Valium generation. The amount of people that are on antidepressants is staggering. You know why? Because there's a mitzvah d'oraisa to be happy. The Bag says it's one of the 613 mitzvahs. If there's a mitzvah to be happy, then the Yetzer Hara is going to try to stop us. And in proportion to how important the mitzvah is, that's how much the Yetzer Hara is going to try to stop us. That's the famous word from the Chavetz Chaim. The Chavetz Chaim says that the Yetzer Hara is not lazy. He's up before us trying to get us to still stay in bed. He's up after us trying to get us not to go to sleep in the night. But he acted seemingly sluggishly. He didn't fight with Avram. He didn't fight with Yitzchak. He first fought with Yaakov. Why didn't he try to knock out Avram already? And the Chavetz Chaim says that the Yetzer Hara is selective. He is ready to live with the chesed of Avram, and even with the avoid of Yitzchak, with the Torah of Yaakov, that's war. So you'll find that the Yetzer Hara picks and chooses his battles. That's why there are people that could get along with everyone, but they have a hard time getting along with their wife or their husband. Because Shalom Bayis is the key to Shechina. Ish v'isha shalom beineim, Shechina shruya beineim. So the Yetzer Hara is going to put Shalom Bayis in his periscope. The same thing is true with kibbut av v'ein. You could have a child that's nice with everybody, but is an azus panim to his parents. Because it says in the Gemara that if there's fighting in the house, then Hashem says, Yofa asisi shaloi darti beineim. Thank God I don't live with them. So the Shechina is dependent on kibbut av v'ein. So that's where the Yetzer Hara pulls out all stops. The same thing is true with Torah learning. There are people that do all kinds of mitzvahs. But when it comes to Torah, they're very weak. Why? Because it says in Gemara and Kedushin, Barasi Yetzer Hara, Barasi Torah Tavlin, that Torah is the antidote against the Yetzer Hara. So the Yetzer Hara is going to try whatever he can in order that we shouldn't learn Torah. The same thing is true also with Tshuva. We were put on this world to change. The Yetzer Hara will try whatever he can that we shouldn't change. Because remember, what are we getting credit for? We're getting credit for the raw materials that Hashem gave us. Here's a person, he grew up in Borough Park and he keeps Shabbos. Well, what? He should be Mechal Shabbos. He grew up as a little boy in Borough Park. He should eat in Tony's Cafe bacon? That's not a challenge. How did he change? So therefore the Yetzer Hara tries to get us in the worst way not to change. It's important to know and recognize our enemy. I want to point out that when really Hashem never told Avram to slaughter Yitzchak. All he said was, V'haleu sham la'ila. Bring him up on the mount as a burnt offering. Which is what Hashem did. Now, the Zayar says that we know that Avram Avinu made the bracha, the first bracha of Shemona Esrei of Magen Avram, that it was a shield of Avram, when he was saved from the Kivshin Eish, the furnace, in Nimrod. So he said, Baruch Atah Hashem Magen Avram, the shield of Avram. He shielded him from this fiery furnace. We know that when Yaakov saw the ladder, which represents the way to connect with Hashem, Tefillah, Sulam is B'gematria Curl, and he saw the ladder with angels going up and down, there he made the bracha of Hakel HaKadosh, U'kedoshim b'chol yom yalucha sela, holy people, praise you every day. When did Yitzchak make the bracha of Mechaye Mason? So the Zohar says that at the moment that he was bound on the Mizbeach and Avram had the knife and was coming down from the shock, from the fright, Yitzchak, his soul left him. And it says in the Zohar that he had a neshama denukva, a feminine soul that wasn't able to have children. And at that moment, Hashem inserted instead a neshama dezichra, a male soul, which was able to have children. And at that moment, when he was revived, he made the bracha of B'chai HaMesim. But there's a remarkable thing to realize over here. And that is that when Hashem told Avram, you should take your child and offer him as an Eilah, Avram in his mind wondered, what? Hashem told me, Ki Yitzchak yikarei l'chazara, that I'm going to make from him a goy gadol, a great nation. Now he's telling me to sacrifice him? He didn't say anything. He was a Maimon and he did an Eved Hashem. But it was a question. In reality, it was doing the Akedah that allowed Yitzchak to become a Goy Gadol. Because Yitzchak was given the neshama of the Zachris, a male neshama. So now he was able to have children. Beforehand, he wasn't able to have a Goy Gadol. So here, Avraham Avinu had a question, but in reality, it was doing this that would enable it to happen. Many times, we think if we do this, it's going to turn out bad. Truth of the matter is, if we do the will of Hashem, that will bring what we want to fruition. It's a remarkable idea. Vayashkem Avram b'boker. Avram got up in the morning, el hamokom asher omad sham, to the place that he stood before. From here we learn out that a person should have a mokum kavua, a permanent place for his davening. Now there are many reasons why you should have a steady place, always daven in the same place. One reason is because our tefillahs are like karbanos. Our tefillah is like the avodah. That's why we daven standing, because temple service has to be standing. The carbon was brought on the Mizbeach, which had a fixed position in the Beis HaMikdash. And therefore we're supposed to daven in a fixed position. Now, the most practical reason why a person is supposed to have a makom kavua, the Mefarshim tell us, because one of the challenges of davening is not to get distracted. If you daven in a new place, you're not used to the place. So what goes around there is more likely to distract you. If you daven in the place that you're used to it already, so you're not likely to get distracted. You have more kavanah. Another reason why you should daven in a makom kavua is because it's a place that you invested in. When you make a good tefillah, you invest a holiness in that place. And in that place where you said a lot of good rifa'enus, a lot of good shma kalenus, a lot of good simshaloms, that place has already, you invested a lot of kedusha in that place. You want to daven in that place. Now, therefore, it's a good idea when you come to a shul that you don't daven by. It's a good idea that you should ask, where could I sit? You shouldn't want to take away somebody's makom kavua. Now, on the other hand, if there's not enough room to chase away a guest, it's not achnos zorchen. It goes both ways. You could do a mitzvah, but you don't want to embarrass somebody. But it is a proper thing when you come to a shul and say, where could I sit that I'm not taking away somebody's makom kavua? Because it's a big Indian to have a makom kavua. Vayaira elav Hashem. Hashem appeared to Avram. So the obvious question is, why does it say Vayaira elav Hashem? Why doesn't it say Vayaira Hashem elav? It always says Vayedaber Hashem el Moshe. Vayomer Hashem el Moshe. So it could have said Vayaira Hashem elav. Why does it say Vayaira elav Hashem? Simple question. So Rashi says Levaker es hachayla, that Hashem came to visit Avram. He was in the third day of his circumcision. He wasn't feeling well. So he came to be Mevaker Chayla. And the Sifsei Chachamim says, how does Rashi know that? So the Sifsei Chachamim says that's why it says Vayeira elav Hashem and it doesn't say Vayeira Hashem elav. Vayaira Elav, he came to see him. He came to visit him. He didn't come to speak with him. And indeed, it doesn't say that Hashem said anything. Now, by the way, what happens over here, by Hashem demonstrating the mitzvah of Bikur Chaylim personally, he makes Bikur Chaylim into a very, very elite mitzvah, a very lofty mitzvah. Because when we do visiting the sick, we fulfill the mitzvah of alachta b'drachav, walking in the ways of Hashem. Because Hashem demonstrated he visited the sick. Now the fact that Hashem didn't say anything is Hashem wants to teach us. People say, well, I don't want to go, I'll have nothing to say. Even if you don't say anything, it's still a mitzvah Bikur Chaylim. Not only that, but it's a mitzvah to visit somebody, lo yaleinu, that's in a coma. So you'll say, a person is in a coma, why should I go? There's 3 reasons why you should go. Number 1, when a person is helpless, they can't ask for things. Nobody will know if they're neglected. When people visit a person that's in a coma, the medical staff sees that the person is being watched. They're more careful to give better care. That's one reason. Another reason is it says that the Shechina is by the bed of a chayil. So when you go to visit the person that's in the coma, you could daven by the Shechina. The third reason is, it's brought down in the Rishonim, that when you see the person suffering, it generates in you more of a feeling to daven for the person. Now really, Bikur Chaylim deserves a massive share of its own. And I've had shiurim on Bikur Chaylim. You could look it up on TorahAnytime.com. Worthwhile to listen to. But I just want to briefly say that the Gemara in Nedarim and Daf Mem says about the mitzvah Bikur Chaylim. The mitzvah Bikur Chaylim is perhaps the most touted mitzvah in Shas. The Gemara says, what's the reward for Bikur Chaylim? The Gemara says, Nitzel Medina Shel Gehenim. You're saved from the judgment of Gehenim. Now, who is arrogant enough to think that we're lily white? Bikur Chaylim is fire insurance. Now, that would be enough. But then the Gemara goes on to say, Mas Charoy Ba'olam Hazeh. What's the reward in this world? So the Gemara quotes a pasuk. The pasuk says, Yishmereyu v'chayeyu v'ushar ba'oretz v'al titneyu b'nefesh oivav. There's 4 rewards for Bikur Chaylim. Yishmereyu, it'll protect you from the Yetzer Hara. Now that's a real protection. The Yetzer Hara gets people to look at what they're not supposed to look at, scroll in places that they shouldn't be scrolling, raise their voices when they shouldn't raise their voices, say things without thinking. Bikur Chaylim protects a person from Yetzer Hara. That's a remarkable reward. B'chayeyu, it protects a person from Yisurin, from suffering. V'ushar ba'oretz, the Gemara says, Shakol miskabdin boy. People will be honored. People will be honored to be considered your friend. People will be honored that they know you. The Usha Ba'aretz, and that you'll have great friends like the friends of Eve. Person should think about these rewards and how wonderful it is to do this mitzvah. I want to again remind you of the open house. that will be taking place at 1537 Newport Drive this Sunday at 9 p.m. I'll be speaking there at 9:30. My son Simcha is making a new boys' school in Lakewood, YTC, opening up with a primary class for this coming year. So if you have a boy going into primary, you definitely want to meet them. He's doing it together with his wife, Shira Leah. They're really a power couple, and it's going to be a great yeshiva. We want to thank the Rubin family. If you want to sponsor this week's main Chayesara shares, 718-916-3100, rmmwsi@aol.com. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful Shabbos.